power, whether red or blue. I could not care less about Texas, me and you. They created this give me country that don't value hard work. For a Texan to survive, all we need are some seeds and dirt. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone. We believe in family and we value our community. Gladly lend a helping hand to a neighbor in need. And we don't believe that government should provide for all of society's needs. No, it's the pride of a Texan to give to others voluntarily. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Gotta save your country, for it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Gotta save your country, for it's long gone. They like our tax dollars and they love our natural resources. They don't want to see us driving trucks, they'd rather see us riding horses. And now they want to ban our guns, you know, especially the ones that look scary. But may I remind you of the Gonzales Cannon and the Alamo heroes we buried. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save our country, for it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save our country, for it's long gone. This last verse is straight from the Texas Constitution, Article 1, Section 1 and 2. Look it up. Texas is an independent state, yet presently we suffer. We no longer possess the right to locally self-govern. And now it's time as a people in which all political power is inherent. And in such manner we find expedient, we reform or abolish our government. I said, Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone.
Well, good evening, fellow Texians. It is I, Daniel Miller, here with a cup of coffee in hand and ready for a coffee talk. Not quite 24 hours late, but, you know, still a day later, any way you slice it, and 30 minutes earlier than our normal time. So anyway, you know, here we are. As I promised from the very beginning, the work takes precedence. But when it's time for a break and share a cup of coffee together, decompress a little bit, then we are all a bit happier, right? And so glad you could join us. Let me go ahead and get some of the business out of the way because we've got a good bit to talk about tonight. We dropped a bit of a surprise on everyone today, and there's more where that came from. But before I talk about that and before I get to your questions, let's take care of some housekeeping. If you're watching on either YouTube channels, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified anytime we drop a new video or just like that when we go live, right? On a Thursday night, man, it feels weird, and being 30 minutes earlier than our normal time, it feels weird. I don't know. Yeah, so whatever, right? Anyway, do those things on YouTube. By the way, Super Chat is available on YouTube, on the TNM's YouTube channel. If you are feeling generous tonight, we sure could use your support. Not gonna lie, convention was expensive, and results are expensive. It's just the way that it works. And so we could use some of your love and generosity tonight. Drop it in the Super Chat, or if you are morally opposed to YouTube getting a cut, head right on over to the TNM's website at tnm.me/donate and drop it in there. And 100% of those proceeds go directly to ensuring that we can continue to fulfill the mission of the TNM. And we're making great progress. If you're watching on any of the Facebook pages, you know what to do. Like, comment, share, And hey, regardless of where you're watching, be sure to share this, right? Including something oh yeah, by the way, hello to our viewers on Roku tonight, right? I'm really digging the progress that we're making on the Roku channel, man. We're getting so much of our content up there, and let me just go ahead and put a plug there too. Keep checking back. Our video team lead, Will Casey, you guys know him if you're going to the monthly meetings or the local group meetups. He's dropping the monthly video, and you guys know Will's work. But anyway, Will is managing those videos, and I dumped a ton of archives on him the other day that we're going to be adding on there, and they will be exclusively there at the Roku channel and in that very special place we're going to be talking about a little bit later. And you might have already guessed, right? I mean, if you didn't see the news that broke today, then you know what I'm talking. Then you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you did see it, then I'm surprising no one. All right. So before and as always, you can, the crawler that's new down at the bottom. But as always, if you have questions for me tonight, drop them in chat on either the Facebook pages or in YouTube chat. Kara's going to be running production again tonight, so she'll get your questions right over to me, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you got to say tonight. Going to be quite interesting. That said, one thing I've got to do before I get to the other thing and get to your questions is I have to show you this because I'm not sure that you have seen it. We have added a ton of brand new merch to the merch store at tnm.me, including these Texas Independence polo shirts, the Texit polo shirts. We've got some really amazing items over there, including hats, some new hats and things of that nature. So if you haven't been over to the TNM store in a while, head over there right now, grab your Texas gear. Of course, we do that as a fundraiser. All of that gear, TNM swag, helps us fulfill our mission. So be you knock that out. All right. If you saw the news today on the TNM's website, you will see that something that I've been sort of teasing for a while. We announced it today, and that is that the TNM is on July the 4th going to be removing the middleman from our communication. So I know it was talked about a little bit in the news, in that news article, but I want to just kind of give you a little bit of context so you understand just how big this is. Now, many of you remember I talk about in the book, I talk about a concept called atomization, right? Where regimes stay in power by keeping us separated, right? Keeping us from coalescing, communicating, organizing, everything else. So, one of the main key parts of the process that we knew that we had to engage in when we founded the TNM was we had to first and foremost identify supporters of Texas independence, and then we had to connect them together. Now, part of the biggest challenges, one of the biggest challenges that we have had since the launch of the TNM has been that. And it's not been for a lack of trying, right? I mean, we've got communication channels that Carter's got liver pills. We're on every social media outlet you can possibly imagine. We got an enormous email list. I mean, it's just, we try to do our dead level best, and still it's almost never a day goes by that we don't hear from someone saying, well, I haven't heard from you in forever. Well, we've only sent you 50 emails over the last year, and we've done everything but literally stop by your house and knock on your door. And part of that problem is that we're having to deal with the man in the middle, right? And you go back and look at some of the news articles that we've talked about this back when the Texit book was released, the shenanigans that Amazon pulled to keep our book out of people's hands, some of the shadow banning that social media companies say does not exist, but we beyond a shadow of a doubt know that it does. And the fact that so many of you have reported back to us that even after you whitelist our email addresses and our domain, that our emails automatically end up in your spam folders, right? So, it's been tough, and we felt exactly how tough this is during the petition campaign, right? I can't tell you how many times we got emails in from people who really don't know better to say, well, why don't you just tell all your people to show up on one day and do it? Well, we did that throughout the campaign, and the problem is not that we're not saying it, that we're not trying to communicate. The challenge is that all of those means and mechanisms that sit between us and you were keeping that from happening. Now, you could say it's technology, you could say whatever it is, but the fact of the matter is that it exists, right? There is not an unfettered, unfiltered conduit of communication between the organization as an entity and you, and between you, one another as Texit supporters, right? I mean, we're seeing it now. I mean, you're in chat on YouTube, you're probably in the comment section on the Facebook page, and you're visiting and speaking with one another. But what about all those other people that didn't get the message because YouTube didn't pop the notification, or Facebook will wait 2 days to notify them that we were live, or those people that when we send an email out with tonight, the recording of tonight's live broadcast, it goes in the spam folder and they don't see it for 6 months, or the spam folder automatically empties. What about those people? What about those of you that are living in cities and towns all over Texas right now, or even in other states, Texas expats or just supporters, don't realize how many people, even in your own backyard, are also TNM supporters? Well, that has officially changed. For many years, we have been pressed and asked to launch our own social network. And, we're not a social media company. That's not what we do, okay? And let's just be honest, the infrastructure is generally prohibitively expensive. Just ask anyone who has spun up, something separate from Facebook or, Twitter or any of those guys. I mean, let's be honest. Elon Musk dropped well over $1 billion for his stake in Twitter. Go ask Gab or Parlay or Truth Social how expensive an endeavor it is. But I will say that there have been 2 or 3 attempts before, going all the way back as far as 10 years, to do something to approximate that within the TNM, something exclusively for supporters of the Texas Nationalist movement. And today, after many, many, many hours and many, many, many cups of coffee and lots of development time, I was able to announce that something that I have wanted to do for a very long time in the TNM is about to be checked off of my bucket list. And my friends, what that happens to be is that on July the 4th, the Texas Nationalist will be launching not only its own internal social network exclusively for TNM supporters, but also it will come with its own dedicated mobile app, right? How exciting is this? And like I'm just going to show you because I'm giddy, right? Look, you can't see it because it's out of focus, but literally there's the icon on my phone. There's also the notification on my my mail account that I have 79,913 unread emails. Don't talk about it. But it is our own dedicated TNM app, right? A social network. And I'm actually going to show you a sneak peek here in just a second. Look at that. Ain't that gorgeous? Bada boom, bada bing. Take action. So here's what it boils down to, folks. We're knocking the middleman out. We don't have to worry about the Mark Zuckerbergs, right, and those guys standing between us any longer. Any longer. We don't have to worry about it. We don't have to worry about the fragmentation and have to go set up a group and follow. We've got our own thing. And our own thing is going to be an absolute game changer because it means for the first time since our inception, we will be able to communicate with one another without interference. Well, it means that number one, when it comes time to take an action, we don't have to worry about email companies dumping those into spam folders. No, instead, what we can do is send you a notification right to your phone with a link and the information, and you can take action immediately, right? I mean, how wonderful is that, right? In addition, it's not just the mobile app, right? It's also the website. Because here's my account right now. And come July the 4th, you're going to see a whole lot of new options up here. You're going to see that mirror what's happening on the app. But all of your action items will be here, including your missions and events and your volunteer status and a whole bunch of brand new content that is now being made available to registered supporters of the TNM. But this is going to be a fun one right here. This, my friends, is literally the internal social network where you can now connect with and communicate with other TNM supporters, right? And I'll show you this because this is pretty incredible and really and truly one of my favorite things about this is that all of the local groups, whether they've already got a local coordinator or not, all of the groups, all the places we're going to organize are right here, available for you to join in your local group and begin almost immediately to connect with others that are near you, that are in your town, where you can go in and you can send up a flare and let other people that are in your town connect up. And if you don't have a local coordinator, you'll have the opportunity to step up and be that leader or help us find one in those local communities. You see, when we set the goal of spinning up 1,000 local groups, we weren't kidding. When we tell you that the TNM is literally in every city, in every town, in every county, in every corner of Texas, we mean it. And you're about to find out the absolute truth. But look, if you live outside of Texas, don't think you're being left out. You see, for those of you that are currently displaced, we've actually spun up groups for what we call Friends of Texas. Texas supporters that live in places that are not Texas, whether you're displaced or just a well-wisher, you'll have a place where you can network with other people in your state or your own country, whichever the case may be. Many of you know that for a long time we've had the UK Friends of Texas, but now here we are. If you live in any of these states, because I will tell you right now, we have TNM supporters in all 50 states. Now, obviously, the 49 others, plus I can't even tell you how many countries, right? They're displaced Texans, they are expats, or they're people that are wishing us success because they want to see success for their own state. For example, like this group here, the New Hampshire Friends of Texas, right? Where we know that there is an independence movement going on there right now. Additionally, in these groups, we're spinning up affinity groups. So students that are on college campuses, you're going to be able to have a place where you can go to coordinate with other people, you know, that are students as well. We've already spun up an affinity group for veterans, and we're going to be looking for other affinity groups to have, right? So you can connect up not just with people in your local area, but people that share a similar life experience with you or a similar stage in life, so that you can coordinate and figure out how best together you can help advance the cause of Texas independence. So this is huge, right? So, and obviously not just groups, but also all these various social media functions, including and especially one that has been requested more times than I can count, and that is private messaging, right? You wanted a place where you could communicate with one another, not just in a group setting, but sometimes one-on-one. Our app and our new functions come directly with private messaging. But it's even better than that, folks, because on the app that I showed you a moment ago, on the Action Center, and we'll have a full-blown presentation of this, but this is one of my favorite things. All of your achievements and missions, right? All the things that we ask you to do are lumped together now in what's called our Mission Center. And actually, you can get to that right now, even before the launch. But if you go to the Mission Center, we'll see missions of the day. You'll see various tasks and achievements, things that we're asking you to do. And so we're very excited to be able to launch that aspect of it. But another thing that I absolutely love is the fully searchable database. The fully searchable database of all the Texas answers that we have, right? It's pretty amazing. Finally, oh yeah, there it is, right? But finally, we're giving you an opportunity to access your QR code. So when you're out there talking to people about Texas independence and they are ready to register their support, because we should all be asking people when they talk about this, we should all be asking them to connect with the TNM. Your QR code is right there, so you can receive credit for it. You can also register a supporter. Of course, the events are there. And one of my favorite features that you're going to see here in just a second, you're about to see who my state senator and state rep is. And, you know, you're not going to be real happy about who my state rep is. But we give you an opportunity directly within the app to click to call both your state senator and your state representative, right? Boom, one touch, you can call them, and we're going to be adding the governor's office and the lieutenant governor's office, and, you know, we'll see where it goes from there. Another feature, and I mentioned a moment ago, one of the reasons that I'm excited that Will is working and some of the progress we're making on the Roku channel is we are actually embedding the features of what we call TNM TV or Texas Nationalist Movement TV directly in the app. So all of our videos that you see on our Roku channel, you're going to be able to access all right here, including news and interviews, including, yeah, see, look at that. I just did that, including news and interviews. You're going to have all the Coffee Talk archive, but also when we go live, right at the top of the screen in the app, boom, there's me. I'm about to start talking if I hit the button again. We really don't want that, do we? Oh, there he is. Look, it's me. So anyway, boy, that's going to be echoing for a while. So anyway, look, it literally is the power to educate yourself, to stay informed, to organize, to do all the things that we have needed to do to win Texas independence, both on the web and in the palm of your hand. Totally portable, totally mobile, unfiltered access, unfiltered communication between the TNM and you. Now, you know, our social media network is not just a dumping ground for whatever random things that we're wanting to do. It's focused exclusively on achieving Texas independence. So, you know, within those confines, it is definitely a game changer, and it represents what I believe probably a tectonic shift in where we go from here. So, you know, we came off the heels of the convention, and I'm going to encourage you. You need to go to one of your local meetups this month, and this, you know, here in July, and watch the recap that we produced for you know, this month in the TM. And take a look at what it really means. I'll see if I can't get special permission to play the thing on one of the live broadcasts, but I would really prefer you to go to one of the local meetups and see it there. Our local coordinators are rolling out the AV. They are putting on some spectacular presentations, and they are leading off their meetups this month with that video that recaps everything related to the convention. So on the heels of the successes that we had at the convention, this is just another log on the fire. But it's not just any log. It's a log made out of gunpowder. It is gasoline on the fire. We are about to put a force multiplier out there that's going to allow you to stay in touch with the TNM, to be able to go out and engage the public. And folks, this is just version 1.0. The things that we have on the roadmap, the tools that we are about to include in this, to dovetail over what's happening with our field, with our local groups, with our volunteers, is going to be amazing. And, you know, I'm probably going to get hate mail because I cannot believe that I forgot to do this. And that is, we are putting the entirety of the TNM Academy in the app, right? So you're going to be able to have not just news and information, but also you're going to be able to learn and have training. And we are very committed to the expansion of the TNM Academy to empower you to go out and help make Texas independence a reality. So, you know, I haven't had a chance to go look at the chat yet. So I can imagine you probably have some questions. I will tell you that we are not, you know, I'm not going to be covering the app any more than what I did tonight. We're not going to be going in depth into it. And I'm not here to do a feature presentation on it. But I'm here to impress upon you what a major tectonic shift is about to occur because of this. So imagine now, as we get ready to go into this next legislative session, imagine the second week of November when pre-filing for bills starts, and now we can send notifications to everyone's phone through the app to say, call your rep now, and here is your rep, and here's the link, and all you have to do is push this button. It becomes so much easier. Suddenly now you're not having to look up phone numbers, you're not having to do any of those things, right? And there's so many more features that will probably hit the door before we even get there, that are going to be even, I think, more empowering for everyone. But I'm excited. So as the news article said, July 4th is the day that we declare our independence from censorship, that we eliminate the roadblocks between us and Texas supporters. And so what you're going to need to do, right, if you want a piece of this action, is if you do not have a login to our website, and I know some of you out there do not, you need to go right now to tnm.me/vote, right? That's tnm.me/vote, and register your support. The app and all of these features are locked down. Only registered supporters have access. So go become a registered supporter if you are not already. If you already are, but have forgotten your login to the website, go reset your password, right? All you got to do is, drop your email address in there, reset your password. If you can't reset your password, chances are you don't have a site account, right? But make sure you go in once you do log in and go into the account settings and make sure your address is up to date and all those things, because that's going to be very important for connecting you with your local group, the currently organizing local groups, and other people that are in your area as well. Of course, as we get ready to launch and even past, we'll continue to improve our data. Those of you that are unmapped, we'll get you squared away somehow. But all you have to do, if you want to save us time, just go in there and go do it yourself, right? You drop your address in there, and the system will take care of the rest. So I am beyond excited. It is rare that I get an opportunity to check something off of my list that has been on there for so very long. I thought that it was perhaps something that was never going to get done. But if you want something done, you tell a Texan that it can't be done. And so we're doing it. And there it is. So kudos again to everyone on the tech team, everyone who had input into this, especially our team of developers. I have spent many countless nights round the clock with these guys, stomping out bugs, fixing issues. And I'm not going to lie, it's version 1.0. We may still have a few, but you know what? We also have our own dadgum social network too, and our own mobile app. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, right? I love it. I'm so excited. So it's going to drop there. If you go look at the article on the website for iPhone users, there is a pre-registration link. You can go there to the Apple App Store and you can pre-reserve it. So when you do that, it'll automatically download when it becomes available. Android users, we tried to do the same thing, but the efficiency of Google sometimes. Man, they're really efficient at hoovering up data, but you tell them, I want to pre-release my app, and they just can't. They don't know whether to, wind their butt or scratch their watch. So we tried, and if it becomes available, right, for pre-release prior to July the 4th, then we'll let everybody know. And if you have an Android, you'll be able to do it. But let me also thank not just the devs, but everyone in leadership, including our local coordinators, district directors, various members of the national leadership team that participated in the testing of this app. Your feedback has been invaluable. You have helped us immensely identify issues that we may have had, and I can't thank you enough, right? I think I got a little more gray going on here from this, but again, it's rare that you get to check off something on the list that has been on there for so long. So with that being said, go check out the website. You'll see what you need to see. Now, I got to share this with you before I get to your questions. So as you can imagine, it's been, look, I'm in a tie and a jacket. It's been a bit of a media. So apparently when I went on my little tirade last week about how the media didn't want to really cover the issue of Texit Right, and encouraged you guys to go out and talk to the media, let them know your displeasure. Well, apparently some of you did. Thank you for that. Because it has been a bit of a media week. Epic Times, we had a great article in there that hit this morning. We have done several podcasts. We've done some independent media outlets. Did the interview with Anna Perez. I think you guys probably have seen that. It's on the website, on the YouTube channel. It's also on TNM TV and the Roku, just saying. So there has been plenty of that action. And including a very interesting article or a very interesting interview with Bud Kennedy from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. And I think Bud may actually be watching. But Bud reached out to one of our local coordinators, Christina Drury, and asked her for an interview. And she kicked it right on up because she's like, I don't know about this. It's like, no, it's Bud, right? You don't know what you're going to, but I called Bud and I had quite a lengthy conversation with him. And he seemed very hung up on the platform plank when they talked about the right to secede. And so we got into this lengthy discussion about Texas versus white. You guys know one of my favorite things from the opposition's toolbox to destroy. And I sprung Jacobson v. Massachusetts on him. And if you don't know what that's all about, go look at the article on the website about can Texas, is it unconstitutional? I forget what the title is, but you'll see it on the Texas section of the website. And so I hit him with Jacobson v. Massachusetts. And although I had to walk him through it a couple of times, the bottom line is that he was stunned. I mean, legitimately stunned. And I'm, even if Bud is on here, I'm sure he probably wouldn't mind me saying that, because it was literally the first time that he had ever heard a legitimate, realistic rebuttal to Texas versus white that actually involved, a Supreme Court case that came after Texas versus white. And so, sure enough, what happened, and this is what I thought was quite interesting, is there was no article. I have visited since that day the Fort Worth Star-Telegram's website, Bud Kennedy's section on there every day to see what he had to say, and he said nothing. But instead, the social media guys over at the Fort Worth Star-Telegram decided to post an article from over a year ago where they refer to Texit as a scam, right? So they've got new information, brand new, enough that the reporter seemed a bit stunned about it, but a legitimate, serious rebuttal. And their option was to not print the rebuttal, the article, including the rebuttal, and not even to print a new article at all, but just to share one from over a year ago. Folks, they're in trouble. But here's how I know. This is when I know things are going so well. We always get hate mail. I love the hate mail, right? We get the hateful emails and whatever, it's okay. But I always know things are going well for us when we get the voicemails, right? When they take the time to pick up the phone and make the phone call and, leave us a voicemail. And of course, they don't ever leave their names or any of that stuff. So I figured I would play you one, right? So you can experience what our life is like on this end of it. So I'm going to play this for you from someone who I suspect sounds to me a little like Jeff Leach, but it might not be. You decide.
Hello, Russian stooges. I just wanted to say if Texans want to leave at any point, you're welcome to, but it is illegal and you will be criminally prosecuted. You should all actually be in Guantanamo for treason as far as I'm concerned. Have a nice day.
Yes, phone calls from random weirdos that somehow remind me of Jeff Leach. Those of you who don't know who Jeff Leach is, he's a state representative. He is no fan of ours, and he says pretty much the same crap as random weirdo there. So, what do you do, right? There's so many things factually incorrect with that. But, I do take comfort in the fact that people like whoever random weirdo is want to see me in Guantanamo with a pair of jumper cables hooked to a car battery to my nipples. So, whatever, right? But the fact that what we are doing is causing such consternation on that side of the equation means that we are definitely doing things right. And let me tell you, when you're doing them right, you need to do them more. So we need to do what we're doing now and a little bit more, right? We need to talk to more people and then a little bit more, right? We need to go to the media and a little bit more. We need to make, our phone calls and make a little bit more. We need to just do that because this is what it takes to win. We've got we got the big momentum going right now. And it would be a shame to let that thumbsucker sit in his mama's basement and think he won. Sometimes I think to myself, I want to do this for posterity. I want to do this for my children and future generations. And then other times I wake up and I go, you know what? I want to do it just because I know that guy will begin to bleed out of every hole in his head. That guy won't be able to get off the toilet for a week because we're making success. You know, we're having success. You know, the fact that we are doing what we are doing and it is eliciting this sort of response from the mainstream media and from, you know, random weirdo, I got to say, it makes me so happy. I am not displeased. So for other random weirdos out there, knock yourselves out. That voicemail box is wide open, and you too could be a superstar. So that said, you know what? I think it's time that we take your questions, right? So let me get over here. Let's see what we've got available to us. Kenny Sarn says, "Quit talking about and put it to a vote." Hang on. Let me show that one because I'm curious. I would hope that he's talking about the legislators because Kenny, you should know that if it were up to us, it would already have been put on the ballot and gone to a vote because we know if Texit goes on the ballot, it wins, right? So we're doing what we do. It's definitely more than talking about it, but maybe that's the message that you need to go give to your elected officials. I've said it time and time again, if I had a magic wand, then this would already be done, right? I would already put it to a vote of the people of Texas, and there would be no question about where the people of Texas stood on the issue. Okay. Okay. Eric says, get an assist. You don't want Kara to faint. I can only imagine that is being said because the chat is scrolling like a slot machine, and you are afraid that she will become unintentionally hypnotized and fall over. And she might. So I shall take your suggestion under advisement. Let's see here. Okay, John says, round of John, who is one of our local coordinators over there. Oh yeah, you're in Llano, right? Round of applause for the web dev team. Yes, they are phenomenal folks. Nelson and Jason are pretty much like family to me at this point. So we have spent a lot of hours working on this, and they have done a stellar job. So guys, I don't know if you happen to be watching right now, but thank you for all the time that you have put in. Okay, let's get this show on the road. Okay, here we go. Daniel, being in the VA, and I'm guessing you don't mean the postal code for Virginia, how will we still be able to get service with them when we leave the Union? Interesting question. And I wish I could rattle it off to you verbatim. Unfortunately, I cannot, but I can tell you that question is actually answered on the Texit section of the website. So if you text it now, you can go there. There's a question about veterans' disability and benefits. And interestingly enough, through the course of all these discussions and research and things of that nature, one of the things that I think is quite interesting is the ability of veterans to get veterans disability care, medical care, when they are not in the United States. And it is really fascinating. So I'm just going to encourage you, rather than butcher it, because I know I will. I think it's important that we get these things super accurate. And I don't want to say something that might be incorrect because it's been a while since I've visited that question. But if you go to the Texit section of the website, you will find how will my veterans benefits be affected? But you're going to be all right, because at the bottom line, right, regardless of what federal policy is or how the federal government handles it, the fact of the matter is that Texas has a far higher respect for its men and women who have served than the federal government ever. As a matter of fact, and I've said this before, one of the big motivating factors that kind of launched me nudged me into Texas independence was watching how my dad, who was a Korean War veteran, was treated by the VA. It bothers me when I think about it to this day. So, even if it's kind of like the same thing we talk about with Social Security, there are policies in place that guarantee that you earn those benefits, right? That you will receive them. But if for some reason the federal government decided not to honor that, right, then that's their decision to do that. Or, if there's a total financial collapse on the U.S. side, which honestly I think is more likely than them denying Social Security recipients or veterans their care when they're no longer in the United States, because that's their policy right now. They do that regardless of where you live. But I think it's far more likely that the government will just simply not, the federal government will simply not be able to pay for it. And in that case, we definitely better tax it, right? If we're going to try to preserve the standard of living, then we definitely need to get a bit of a sense of urgency about making Texas free and independent again. So great question. I wish I could get into the nitty gritty of it tonight, but go check it out, texitnow.org, and you'll get it. I just did that one. Sorry, guys. This is on me over here on this very tiny screen. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, this is Eric again. Eric says, just donate to TNM. I challenge all leadership to make a donation, any amount. Thank you, Eric. I'm going to tell you, our infrastructure costs are going to go up considerably where this app is concerned. Not just the app, but everything else. But, it's the price you pay to eliminate the middleman. This crap doesn't come free. I mean, even a carrier pigeon would cost money, right? So, Eric, thank you very much. And thank you for your challenge. And I will tell you this, as soon as I jump off of here, I will go make a contribution myself. I probably ought to just do it on here, but I'm afraid you guys will see my credit card number. And I know there's some shiesty people watching this thing. It's the haters. It's probably random weirdo. I'm afraid he would steal my credit card number. It'd be terrible. Don't want to display that on the screen, but I will go make a donation when this is over with. Okay. Okay, here we go. Boom. Let's look at this one. El Scorpio Perfecto says, what percent is pro Texit right now? I think you're wanting my estimation. And look, it is a reasonable assumption based off of polling trends since 2009. Plus the work that we have done, out in the field and what we're seeing. But I could try to put some numbers on it. I think the final vote will be somewhere in the range of probably 60-40. That would be my safe assumption. Perhaps maybe even as much as 65-35 in favor. But this is what I tell people. This is how you can just take it to the bank that we are confident that we are over 50%. After spending a quarter of a century working on this issue, do you think there is a snowball's chance in hell that I would be pushing so hard for a referendum if I thought there was a chance we would lose? Do you think that to be the case? Now, I've thrown out the statistic before. Where there have been, when it goes to a referendum, it's almost always guaranteed to go through, right? There have been some notable exceptions, right? The two independence referenda in Quebec that failed. You had the Scottish independence referendum that failed, but and then you had a few others. I think there were 3 or 4 others, two or three, I can't remember right off the top of my head, but that many that failed on the first vote. And in each instance, they went back within 10 years, held another referendum, and it passed on the second try. And I think it's quite amazing. I think it's of note that it's been about 8 years since the Scottish independence referendum. And they have called for another one. Nicola Sturgeon, I'm not a big fan of SNP's policies, But looking at the independence issue kind of on its own, they had their vote in 2014, and they have set another vote for 2023. So you're right under that 10-year mark, and it wouldn't surprise me if it passes. It would be an aberration of the data for it to be so. So will Scotland be like the others and get it on the second try, or will they be like Quebec and wind up losing both? Be interesting to watch. I suspect we will get a lot of media discussion about that. I fully expect to get asked about that an awful lot. It happened in 2014. There's no reason to think it'll be any different. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let's find another good question here. Okay, this is good. This is a little inside baseball question. This is from Donnie, and Donnie's just a little north of me, up there, and I'm down in far southeast Texas, and he's also in southeast Texas, but not nearly as south. But Donnie says this. He says, "I would love to see you represent the TNM on the Daily Wire, Joe Rogan. How does one even get invited on their shows?" I have learned from a practical standpoint, just kind of experience, particularly with this issue. Okay. And I'll just, again, inside baseball. One of our PR folks, Josh, who, when things like this come up, we kind of bring him on a contract basis to go out there and try to get the TNM interviews in the media, right? So when you see us on things like Real America's News, if you go back and you see the interview I did with Stuart Varney on Fox Business when we released the Texit book, that was Josh's work. And the interesting thing about this last week, and part of the reason that I had my little tirade is that he was cruising around, going to his normal channels where he gets people booked all the time, and talking about this issue that was all over the cycle. The progressive media, the statist propagandists were smearing us from one end to the other, lying their butts off. And no one in any of those outlets, whether it was Fox News or Newsmax or no one in his normal repertoire would touch us, with the exception of Anna Perez over at Real America's Voice, because she loves what we do. And frankly, I think she's got more stones than most of these people in the media for just tackling these issues. So, kudos to her and kudos to Josh. But, so that being said, I will tell you what I have seen work. Okay. I had been asked about being on the Tom Woods show for many, many years, for a long time. Tom Woods. And, we send emails, we try to reach out. None of it worked. But let me tell you what did work. A bunch of Tom Woods listeners reaching out to Tom Woods and saying, "You've got to interview Daniel Miller about the issue of Texit." And lo and behold, when it all happened at one time, we didn't organize it. It was very organic how it went down. One day Tom reached out. It was like, "Man, we should have done this a long time ago," And so I was very thankful to Tom, but I was even more thankful to our friends and supporters who went out there and just literally pounded the heck out of this thing and say, you need to talk to the TNM about this issue of Texit. So, if you want to know about, Joe or any of those other guys, I mean, that's going to be the only way. Our guys do their work, they do their thing. They try to reach out, try to make it happen. But in the end, a lot of it is really about hearing from people like you saying you need to talk to these guys. Okay. Patty also asked the percentage pro Texit. Here we go. Hey, here's a super chat. Thank you very much, Roosevelt Media News. And thank you for your encouragement. We will indeed keep up the great work. Okay. Oh, okay. Here's someone. Let's see here. BB Lou. That's an interesting YouTube name. Said, just donated and bought 2 shirts at the TNM store. Thank you very much. And let us know, man. Those, our folks were walking around in that new stuff. That was exclusive convention merch. Okay. First time any of it had been seen. And I'm going to tell you what, it was stunning. It would literally stop people in their tracks. One of the things that I saw in the video for July for the local meetups was one of our members, Olivia, talking about how someone chased her down at the convention and said, "I've been hunting for you." Right? They were looking for the shirt. That's what it was. So, hey, thanks for doing that. Thanks for your contribution. We do appreciate it. Okay, let's see here. Oh man, this is an interesting question. Keith asks, he says, "Good evening, Daniel. Will you be running for public office again in the future? I appreciate all you do." Keith, I don't know the answer to that yet. And the fact that the answer is not a no is quite telling, right? To the point that, we know we got skunked on money during the lieutenant governor's race, and I have not closed my campaign account. As a matter of fact, in I think 15 days, I've got a campaign finance report due. So the fact that the campaign account is still open ought to tell you that I think it's a possibility, but I'm not settled on it. Right? I don't know that is my path. I was asked to run. And I did everything in my power that I could to get elected. And so, that possibility exists again. But I will tell you, right as of right now, I can't really think about. I mean, I am thinking about it. I'm being asked about it a lot, but that's not where my head is at. Right, my head is on the next game, and the next game is. We are launching a major fundraising campaign in July because we have to. There's going to be some pretty interesting spiffs related to it, and it's got to be a major one because right on the heels of that is I mean, not even on the heels of it, simultaneously we're going to be out there working on forming up trying to hit our 1,000 local group goal, and if you think it's look, when you see where our people are, it's not as crazy as you think it is. But frankly, one of the things that I'm super committed to seeing happen is the increase in the number of volunteers. Yikes! You should be very glad that I muted the microphone. Anybody else having this going on? It's ridiculous. So, look, spinning up local groups, getting our volunteer count up to where it needs to be, and then getting ready for the next campaign because I mean, you have to understand how tight the time is. I mean, it seems like everything is so far away, but it's not, We're entering into July. We're entering into the officially kind of the second month of summer already. And we've already had major things happen in June. July is not going to be any different. August is not going to be any different. We're going to be making some announcements about some things that are going to go down in September. Some things are happening in October. November's the general election. 2 weeks after that is pre-filing for bills in the Texas legislature. Then we've got a tremendous amount of training to do for volunteers. Then, we're going to be getting ready for legislative session. The legislative session starts. Then some other things that are going to go down that I cannot talk about. Spoiler alert. Our plans are extended out quite a bit. So, I can't think about another run for public office. I can't. I got to focus on my first goal, and that's Texas independence. And if that happens to coincide with a run at some point, if I'm called on to do so, or we think there's a strategic advantage to making it happen, I will do, frankly, whatever is asked of me when it comes to the issue of Texas independence. It's how I'm wired. Okay. So thank you for the question, Keith. Okay, let's see. Did I miss anything? Okay, here we go. Here's one from, yeah, this is a good one here. Oh, and that's good. I'm running short on time. Okay. Matthew says, do you think the Supreme Court's recent decisions in giving states back more power actually hurts the TNM? Absolutely not, because that is just the next chapter in the book of federal overreach, right? We're getting ready to see the good old push pull where the court, because remember, you're only a few justices away from that pendulum swinging back the other way, right? So do first and foremost, the recent court decisions are. I mean, I think they're okay. I mean, I think they're great. Some of them more than others, but let's get down to sort of the core issue here. Why are any of these issues being decided by a bunch of unaccountable, unelected judges on the federal side, right? Who decided one way many years ago and have decided a different way now, and can decide a different way in the future. Is that how we want to be governed here in Texas? I don't want to be governed by the Supreme Court, not by the federal Supreme Court. I don't want to be governed by them in the least. I don't want them to have a say in how we, because those decisions that were made were, something along the lines of what we believe Texas, right? But at the end of the day, they had to be decided in that way because we had been under the thumb of regulations or laws or dictates or mandates that we didn't have to be under in the first place. And so you take, the issue with Roe v. Wade and the people on the pro-life side of the issue. But for our relationship with the federal government, that would have never been an issue for us. Texas has always, had a very strong stance when it comes to the unborn. So, that's the way it is. But as I said, it's just sort of the next chapter, right? What comes after is going to be quite interesting because now you're going to see the power of the executive and the legislative branches as they begin to fight back against this issue, right? They're not happy with seeing power return to the states and very unhappy with the states doing it. And I can imagine they probably did to let a little steam off the pressure cooker, right? But at the end of the day, the federal government does what the federal government does, and that is it consolidates power in Washington, D.C. So start looking for executive orders, start looking at the federal government wanting to withhold funds from states that put abortion restrictions on, or whatever. You'll see it. I don't have anything specifically in mind, but wait for it. It's going to happen because it always happens. The misdirection is like a Vegas magician. Look over here. We've given you something you want. While over here, we're going to run another play that's going to make it even worse than it was before. So let's see how it turns out, right? Either I'm right or I'm wrong, but I'll tell you, my track record on this has been pretty spotless. So see how it goes. But it hasn't hurt us because I think most people in Texas understand that, frankly, Texans don't need to be governed by Washington, D.C. But for our relationship with the union and Washington, D.C., then we wouldn't really care what happened in the Supreme Court now, would we? So there's that. All right, folks, that is my time. Oh, man, there was a question. Can I go a little over, like a few minutes? I'm going to take this one. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take this, but it's going to be really, really quick. Okay. Bad Brad says, why was Texas not voted on as one of the 8 legislative priorities by the Texas GOP? So I got a little inside scoop on this because I sat down with someone that was on the legislative priorities committee, had a visit with them on Saturday, maybe Friday or Saturday. And here's what I found out. So our planks were formatted in a way to be considered as legislative priorities. In fact, this member of the Legislative Priorities Committee told me specifically that ours was one of the ones that that came out of the most conventions, right? I think there was maybe one that was ahead of us, but I mean, it was without a doubt, when you combine them all together, all the various wording and everything else, it should have been in the, if not number 2, should have been at least in the top 5. So what they did was, and this is why you got to watch for shenanigans. What they did is they took them all and then they sent them out to the various subcommittees and let the various subcommittees vote on which ones they thought were important. So then they took from the subcommittees, they took that and then they retallied the votes and they weighted the votes, essentially saying that, if you might be number 2 on the list, but if nobody in any of the subcommittees said you were one of the top priorities, well, you got downranked. Okay. So by the time those shenanigans were done, instead of being one of the top submitted, we were number 17 on the list, which they took, I think it was 15. And so therefore it made the cutoff by 2, not because you didn't go out there and do your dead level best, but because somebody decided that they wanted to play some crazy shenanigans. But you know what? It's not, even if it didn't make it as a legislative priority, the fact that, we ended up with, and hopefully we're still waiting on the count, 2 planks, very clear planks, calling for a referendum on Texas independence on the platform, works too, right? I mean, because, one of the things I campaigned against Dan Patrick on was the fact that, the legislative priorities didn't seem like much of a priority to those guys. So the planks, the priorities only have meaning to the electeds when you give them meaning, when you make them priorities for those people. You'll see stuff that never touched the Legislative Priorities Committee get a lot of heat, and these electeds get their butts in gear. So we'll see how it goes, right? That's some inside baseball and some of the story that I heard from one of the committee members. And it fascinated me, just the mechanics of it, but I did not find it shocking at all that they tried to find some way to knock us out of the box, because I mean, as far as I know, it's never been done that way, and I've seen this happen since they instituted the legislative priorities. So feels a bit targeted, but what do you do, right? You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. That should be the federal government's motto, now that I think about it, because that's how they behave. Anyway, all right, folks. Well, look, that is a wrap for me tonight. Thank you. I mean, it's been way more talk than coffee, as evidenced by the fact that I almost choked to death on the camera. Yeah, I mean, that literally happened. But let me go ahead and do this. The things I do. If you're not already a member of the Texas Nationalist Movement, head over right now to tnm.me/join. That is tnm.me/join. And of course, if you are not a member of a local group, head over to tnm.me/local groups. Find one, because that's going to change, and it's going to be super, super, super incredible when the new section of the site and the app launches. So make sure you do that. And of course, I've said it before and I'll say it again, become a volunteer, get in the game. Head over to tnm.me/volunteer, and let's, we need your help. It's just the way it is. And then of course, if you want in on all the July the 4th shift, tectonic shift, and get TNM mobile, get it right on your app, or get access. You're going to get access to it July 4th anyway, but head over to the website, go to news, and you'll see the most recent article about it. Go ahead, pre-register on the iPhone app. And if you're on Android, again, look for it when, look for an email or whatever, or just keep checking back. Not like you'll get the emails. I mean, kind of the whole reason we're doing this, right? Anyway, go get connected, go get logged in, go do all that stuff. But in the meantime, friends, I will leave you with the words that I leave you with every single time we're together. Not my words, but the words of Sam Houston when he said that Texas will again lift its head and stand among the nations. I believe that time is now, and the question is, will you stand with her? Good night, everyone.